Hello, family. Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy E, the Dividend Passport Bro, back with another video, guys. Today is Friday, September the 12th, 2025. Okay, and today being is payday. I mean, payday for our distributions. So we have money coming into the portfolio. We got money coming to the portfolio all week, but most of the distributions show up today. Okay, so. Uh, tomorrow we'll be making our income review video on how much money came into the portfolio today. I don't expect to be a lot because we have sold a lot of positions um, out of the portfolio. So I don't expect a lot of distributions to be coming into the portfolio. But still, we have enough money coming into the portfolio to where if we were to be living off of these distributions, I mean, we'll be doing pretty good. Okay. So with that said, I'd like to welcome all of our new subscribers, guys. Thanks for liking the content and for subscribing to the channel. Now, if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel and you enjoy the content, please do subscribe to the channel and make sure to leave a comment. And I always respond to all comments. Also, guys, this is not financial advice. I'm just a 52-year-old man that makes video about my portfolio and my portfolio alone. So do not take this as financial advice. Okay, guys. So with that said, let's get down to business because today was another decent day in the market. Even though we see a lot of red, but my portfolio actually did pretty good today. When I say we did pretty good, that means we ended the day with all of the portfolio, not just my main portfolio that I talk about all the time, but all of my portfolio ended up in the green. Okay. Now, extended hours are a completely different story. There's a possibility that all of the growth we generated during business hours today, doing extended hour or after hours, however you want to call it, we might be down. Okay. So with that said, we're just going to look at the red today. Berkshire Hathaway is down 0.58%. Airbnb is down, Netflix is down, Pepsi, Procter and Gamble, Coca-Cola, Disney, Amazon, McDonald's, J&J, to name a few, are down today. In the green, we have Broadcom is kind of in the green, is 0.07%. So this is in the green, even though it's still gray. It's in the green. Tesla, JP Morgan Chase, Meta, Google, Nvidia, AMD, Microsoft, Apple, Waste Management, Costco, are all in the green today, guys. Okay, so I hope your positions did decent. Like I said, mine in the growth, like the last 2 days, we're still not near the recuperation of the downturn of the market. But if it's starting in September, we go into September, almost mid-September now, and looking at the portfolio generated income like this is decent. And if this can continue on to December, that would be great, right? That momentum going into December, that would be amazing. Okay, guys, I'm trying to rush through this because my little baby just woke up and she is beating on the door. As you can see, right, the distributions for Bitcoin, not distribution, Bitcoin is at $116,000, 0.4%, but 0.41% down in the last hour, but in the last 7 days, up 4.22%. Okay, Ethereum is also up for the day 0.32% at $4,600. We talked about this yesterday, XRP 309, okay? And today is up in the last hour 0.85%, almost a 4%, okay? That is amazing if you are investing in crypto, guys. So, like I said, don't do what I do what I say, okay? If you do what I say, you would be doing a lot better than me because if I just listen to myself, I'll probably be in a better position. But you know what? I cannot complain. Um, we it took us 5 years to get to this point, and hopefully, it will take us half that time to double our portfolio. Okay, guys. So as you can see, Bitcoin is huge. Okay, just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Let's look at the market cap for Bitcoin. Okay, $2.31 trillion, and the last 24 hours in value, you can see. 5101 billion. Okay, $51 billion in volume in the last 24 hours. That is amazing for Bitcoin. Okay, so people who think these cryptos are going to be gone in no time soon, look at number two, Ethereum. Okay, 560.78 billion. Okay, so it's half a trillion already, and in the last 24 hours, $35.82 billion in transaction. Okay, that is crazy. All right, so when I looked at this earlier, my after I was down, but it looked like it kind of bounced back up. As you can see, it went down and it kind of bounced back. Okay, so that's good. The good way to end the week and going into the next week. We got a little bit of distributions already came into the portfolio. A dollar, some change came into the portfolio. This is a very small portfolio, and I have it spread out almost evenly across the board. So this portfolio is going to take a while to generate some decent money, but when it starts to generate some income, it's going to be consistent through the weeks. We're not going to get one week where we get $5,000, $6,000, and next week we get $10 or $20. It's going to be consistently through the week. When we start getting $20, $30 a week, $40 a week, $50 a week, that's going to be consistent. So if you look at the month, right, when the month ends, balance out, we're going to be making that same amount every month consistently. Okay, so this is why I'm taking my time with this portfolio, because this is my daughter tuition portfolio, even though right now we're putting the funds out of the other portfolio. Okay, guys, and this portfolio is doing this thing also. It is growing, growing, growing. Okay, and we have some distributions that came into this portfolio today. Now, one thing I like about Charlie Schwab, they always put in their distributions quick, right? So we got paid today, and we only invested in one position, okay, and we got paid 440, I think it was like $46, $446 and change, because we already had $3 and something already in this portfolio sitting there. Uh, but I'm just doing top of my head. I might be wrong, but to generate that from just one position, now we're gonna go not might we're gonna go the rest of the month without making any money, because we're only investing in one thing into this portfolio. But you know what? I might decide to sell half of the positions and put it into something else, or I might just leave it alone, and then next month, we generate another amount. But this money that came in, I might not spend that money. I might just have that money sit there, and we're gonna move the funds later on to pay the car payment for next month. Okay. And in our big boy account, let's see here. And this portfolio we're up today. We ended the day with in gains almost $4,000. Okay, it's showing here 4,984.08. Okay, so we 1.27%. Wow, I get this 1.00. 1.27%. Okay. Now this was the number that we had during the day, but this kind of went down a little bit. So we probably like at the 1.60. The portfolio itself did a gain of 1.66%. So this is a little off, but still, this portfolio is getting its momentum and is doing its thing. Okay, it's getting momentum and it's doing its thing, and we're gonna continue to invest in our portfolio. Now, one thing I didn't do right today, I didn't buy anything. Yesterday, I bought a few things yesterday, not in my Robinhood portfolio, but in the other portfolios. I purchased a few things to help grow the portfolio, even though, you know, it's like, spending, what did I spend actually? It was like maybe about $3,000, but I bought like all my positions that I was trying to get. Let's say I have a position that the value is $890, and I have a bunch of them at 800 or something. I just bought enough to get those positions to $1,000. So I spent maybe about $1,000. So I bought enough, about 6 or 7 positions to get those positions to that thousand, above that $1,000 limit. Um, and that's what I've been doing. So as you can see, you see all the different things that you pay out, right? Is because some of these positions don't pay as much. But you know, if you're trying to invest in these high yields, you have to be very, very cautious, right? I'll tell you guys all the time, if you're a high yield, extreme high yield investor, you definitely need to pay attention to your portfolio. Um, don't do like if you're investing in other stuff, I would say yeah, it doesn't really matter, right? If you're investing in VYM or um, SCHD, those positions, yeah, you can set your money and go months and not worry about it because it's going to be safe. But if you're investing in this extreme high yield, these positions change all the time, very volatile. So one day it can be up, and the next day it can be down, and and if the actual positions is down, it affects these couple calls ETF, right? So let's say if Apple is down and the Apple cover call ETF is going to be down more. So that affects the position. If it's take a long time to recover, it's going to affect your position even more. Okay. Now, even though you might get distributions, but at a different rate, you might get a distribution cut. But with some of those other stable positions, they don't cut the rate that much. So if they do, it'd be about a 1 or 2 cents per week or per month. Um, so that's something to look into and pay attention to when you're investing in these high yield dividend. Okay. Now, like I say, for me right now, my cost of living outside of the U.S. is less than $2,000 a month. Okay. In the U.S., it is 10 times more that for me to live in the U.S. So, of course, where do you think I'm going to choose to live? I'm going to choose to live outside the U.S. where it costs more. So people be like, well, I have property in the U.S. Yes, but when I'm in the U.S., what I spend to feed myself, right, is more than what I spend for my apartment here. Now, even though I've already paid for the apartment, I pay cash, but I still have to pay light, water, and gas, right? Which is for both apartments is now is under $700 a month. Okay, so if I'm spending maybe $1,000, $2,000, right, a month just to feed myself, and if I'm in the U.S., if I'm in Colombia, I'm spending maybe $500 to feed myself and my family. Of course, I'm going to choose to be here because I'm still saving $1,500 every month because my budget for Colombia is already budgeted into my expenses. So even though I have two separate budgets, so for me making distributions coming in, right, $2,000 a month is more than I'm going to need, right? Even though I have margins that I have to take care of, pay some money back to margins. But like right now, this thing said $28,000. Okay, we already generated about $3,700 in distributions. So depending on what we're gonna get tomorrow, add tomorrow into the portfolio, right? We might be at $6,000 uh, this month, right? $6,000. Imagine $6,000, and we still have 2 more payments to go. So if I was living in Colombia and generating $6,000 and only have to pay taxes on that money, I would still have like $4,000 plus dollars every month if I was just only making $6,000 to live, right? And I have a pay apartment, I have a pay up car, 2 pay up places, one in Cartagena and one out here. So, you gotta live your life how it suits you. But like I said, my goal here is to encourage you guys to invest because without investing, I wouldn't be here, right? And I have other portfolios. So this is, and no, I just showed this portfolio, but my retirement account, I don't really talk about that, right? Every now and then I might talk about how much money coming into the portfolio, right? Like today, I think we got about almost $1,000 coming into my Roth, right? I don't have to do nothing like that. I don't really need that money for another, for 8, 9 years, right? 59 and a half. So I'm 52 right now. So another 7 years. Okay. I don't have to touch that money. And it's just growing, right? I'm growing it, right? I just took some money out of there to pay for the apartment. So guys, you can do, like I said, you do what works for you, and I'll do what works for me. But I have 2 payoff places in Colombia, 2 payoff property in the U.S., right? like I said, we're gonna start working on stage two, which is buying land to invest, right? Buy land, and then we're gonna build. So when I'm in U.S., right, we're gonna be working. That was the project. We're gonna be working, building stuff, and then when we're done, we leave there for 6 months, come back to Colombia or go wherever else we want to go. And I still allowed to work my job. I still got a job, right? I still got a job that I work. So, and as long as that job allowed me to do what I do, I'm gonna hold that job until when that job decided don't need me no more. In that phase, I would step away from it, right? Maybe if I get bored, I might look for another job. But spending time looking at my portfolio, adjusting my portfolio, guys, this is my money. So me protecting my asset is very important to me, right? Because this is what's going to sustain me, right? If I go to buy anything, they'll be like, "What's your income?" Oh yeah, I got income. I got distributions, 25K a month distributions. I can pull this statement from my brokerage that show my distributions that coming into my portfolio every month as income, right? So technically I don't really need a job, but it's good to have a job. Okay, guys. So as you guys can see, right, the average is 38. Now we're down to 28,000. I have made a lot of changes in my portfolio, and I might just have to bear patient, right, and see how much longer we can go between this 28,000 whatever $1,000 we can bring in. And with my current position, if the market start to get better, my distribution is going to increase, right, with everything I have. So let's say we do $20,000 this month. If everything stays the same, my distributions will increase, right? So I will have the same amount of positions. My distribution will increase. As my distribution increase, that would be enough to pay down my margins. And I still have enough income coming into the portfolio to where I can pull money as needed. Okay, guys. Now I don't want to be yapping too much, but you guys know I get carried away when I start talking about money. Okay, and we're still looking at $450,000 of distributions annually coming into the portfolio. For a very small portfolio, right? Estimated $450,000 a year is a lot of money. Guys, this is more than what I make on my regular job. Okay, the only difference is, right, I got a 6.5% loan on margins for the money that I borrowed from, Fidelity. Now, like I'm telling you guys, right, I got that 60/40 because 60% of that money is my money, 40% of the money is from Fidelity, right? And the goal is to have at least under 25% of marginal, usable marginal cash, right? And I have the strong feeling if I can sell out of AIYY, I don't want to sell because, like I tell you guys, it's a big loss for selling that, like a $40,000 loss if I sell AIYY right now. Okay, but at some point I would have to pull the trigger and sell that. I'm hoping it would, because the market's starting to pick back up, it would pick up to a point where I would sell it less than a $40,000 loss. But I have no idea if that's going to happen. If I can get out of AIYY, right? Because I mean, it's still paying distributions, but it's not paying enough to cover for that, the negative erosion. Okay, and put that money into something else. I think that would be decent. Okay, it went up what 2 cents today in the price, right? The price went up 2 cents today. I mean, yes, that's a couple $100. Not bad if you have thousands and thousands of shares, right? Um, but like I said, we're looking at the losses right now. The losses is freaking crazy. Okay, so with the rest of the positions that I have, Tesla, Alti, all those guys are all in the loss column as far as being eroded. But I receive enough distributions. If I was to sell today, I won't lose any money, right? Alti, Coney, and what's the other guy? Nvidia. I won't lose any money if I was to sell those three positions today. I will win. I will have a little bit of positive cash, right? Plus, um, you know, I won't be losing money, and I'll be able to pay back the margins, right? So, but like I said, I want to keep my income above that 20,000 for right now because I have expenses. I have tuition. I have to pay for my kid. I just found out today, putting my daughter into school out here in Colombia, into private school for the year. One of the schools that we looked at, it's about 4 million something pesos. That's a lot of money, right? 4 million. Let me see if I pull the information up. And that's one of the bilingual school. I'm like, do I ready to put her in a bilingual school when she's speaking English all day at home? Because all I do is speak English to her at home. So even though my English is horrible, but I'm trying to pull this information up, right? Where is it? And they go from 7 a.m. to 12 p.m. or optional to 3:30 p.m. So I mean, most of the other kids get out of school at 12, so probably pick it up at the same amount of time. But registration, 4.2 million pesos, right? So that's equivalent to almost what, $1,000 a year. And then that's another million for pension. I don't know what the pension means. And then they have training school, semi-annual. I don't know what that means. Training school. Okay, that's another $200. And then lunch, which is optional, it's another $50 for lunch. But I don't know optional. I mean for the year, she probably be eating lunch at school. But I mean it's still not bad for a private school, right? And it's a private daycare kind of school. The kids go up to second grade, I think, in that place. So I mean, this is my expensive. If I was to say I sell my house in the US tomorrow, guys, that means the only bill that we have in the US is credit cards, right? The biggest mortgage that I have, which is almost $3,500, and then you add HOA due once a year, taxes and insurance, um, which I pay, which is paid into the mortgage. Uh, I pay the insurance, right? That's another what, thousand something a year. So if you look at all those numbers, I'm spending thousands of dollars every year in mortgage payments, right? 30, 40 grand, whatever that is, a year, or close to 50. If you do the math, what is that? Let's do an estimated $4,000. Uh, where's my calculator? Uh, Calculator. So let's say $4,000 times 12. So that's $48,000 a year just for mortgage, taxes. Well, just for mortgage, HOA dues, and insurance, right? That's crazy stuff. That's crazy work. It might not be 48. It might is somewhere under that. Um, let's do 3,800 a month. 3,800. That might be close to it. Times 12. So 44,000 dollars a year. That's just for mortgage on a house, insurance, and HOA dues. Right? That's somebody's salary right there. So can you imagine if I wasn't paying that 40 some thousand dollars a year and I was reinvesting that or taking that money and putting it into an investment property, right? That building another fourplex, a 4 unit apartment that I could turn around and rent out, that's going to generate me anywhere from I would say 6,000 for maybe like 6,000. I would rent out 3 units and keep one for myself if I was to sell my house. That would be the plan, right? Um, Build a unit and then sell my house and then move into one of the units in the interim, right? Refinance the unit, take their money, right, and build another one. Maybe do instead of doing a 4 this time, I'll do a 6, or depending on the size of the land, I can do a 12 or whatever. If I got 2 acres, then I can just, you know, make double them up, right? So you go from getting $6,000 a month because the first one is paid for. You take that cash and build the second one. Now you're just paying that 2,000 or whatever that is every month, right? While you're collecting 6 grand a month, and I'm living rent free. I don't have to pay no rent, right? The tenant taking care of their own stuff, and we're just paying the other 2 grand on mortgage, and I still got maybe 4 grand coming in. So if I can do that 10 times, guys. So that's the thing. You can just look at income coming from one place. Okay, that's why I tell you guys. Don't just say, okay, well, yes, I got my boy. He got hit in the belly with real estate. I me too. I lost a lot of money in real estate, but I never really shy away from real estate because I love doing my hands, getting my hands dirty and stuff like that. So I never shy away. Okay, so I always encourage you guys to diversify, not only in the market here, but if you got too much money tied up in here, right? Yeah, it's easy to leave the country, go to another country. Boy, they can help with taxes, yes, you know. But sometimes you just love your country and you want to be there, but you want to have the option where you can travel and you're not restricted, right? So building another income source, right, allow me to hire somebody, or if I don't want to hire nobody, I can hire my daughter's mom. She could be property manager, right, and she get a regular salary and she managed the stuff that's hers anyway, right? And she get a portion of the income coming to her for doing the work that she would do for free anyway. So it's a win-win, guys. Okay, you know what? Like I said, I already yapped 27 minutes, right? I hope this touches somebody. Okay, guys, I'm 52. Okay, I got here as far as my investment portfolio goes 5 years. Okay, and within that 5 years, I have purchased not one but 2 properties in Colombia. One a year ago, a little bit over a year ago, and the other one last Friday. Okay, and all of this because 5 years of investing. Okay, generating distribution of income. Okay, I purchased the first property cash. Okay, second property cash. Second property I pulled 65,000 from my Roth, okay, to purchase the second property that I'm going to be living in. The first property is kind of rented and stuff like that, okay. But at some point, I might just sell that one and just have one with the right deal, okay. So, guys, have a wonderful, wonderful Friday. We're going to talk about income tomorrow, and it's not a lot of money coming into the portfolio. Like I said, it could be a couple $1,000s, $2,000, but still, that's better than nothing. That's just a week. Right, we got 3,700 last week. If we get 3,000 this week, that's 6,700. Okay, we still got 2 more weeks to go. So in those 2 weeks, it's possible we can generate $10,000 or $12,000. It's possible. Okay, so have a blessed day, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Peace out.